Roger Moore. There's a moment that arrives for every actor eventually. The phone rings a little less. The tuxedo hangs in the wardrobe a little longer. And when you catch yourself in the mirror, a stranger with silver hair stares back. But here's what nobody tells you about reaching that age. The thing you stop counting isn't the years. It's the people. Roger Moore spent decades as one of cinema's most recognizable faces. Bond. The saint. The man with the raised eyebrow and the perfect quip. But when he reflected on his life, he didn't talk about box office numbers or awards. He talked about 5 people who quietly, permanently, changed him. Audrey Hepburn was the first. The world had already made up its mind about her. Graceful, untouchable, born looking like she'd never known hardship. Moore met her through UNICEF work, and what he saw shattered that image entirely. No cameras, no glamour, just Audrey kneeling beside a child, not standing over her, kneeling, speaking softly and listening as though nothing else in the world existed. Moore stood back and watched, struck by something he couldn't quite name. Later she told him that anyone given a voice owes something to those who don't have one. He never forgot it. Years of his own charity work, he said, owed something to her example. Then there was Sean Connery. The press loved casting them as rivals. Who was the better Bond? Who wore it more convincingly? Moore found the whole thing quietly amusing, because the moment they actually talked, any imagined competition simply evaporated. Connery had a confidence that never needed an audience. He knew exactly who he was, and had no interest in proving it to anyone. When Connery died, Moore didn't grieve the legend. He grieved the man. The one who taught him that you never become memorable by trying to replace someone else. David Niven was everything Moore had admired from a distance, and somehow, even better up close. What struck him wasn't the wit or the charm. It was how Niven treated everyone exactly the same, whether they were a film star or the newest assistant on set. When Niven was diagnosed with ALS and gradually lost the voice that had defined him, he still found ways to make the people around him smile. Moore remembered that not as tragedy, but as the finest performance Niven ever gave. Princess Diana, he said, had a gift unlike anyone he'd ever encountered. Most charismatic people draw attention to themselves. Diana redirected it toward everyone else. At one charity event, amid the photographers and the packed schedule, she quietly slipped away to speak to a nervous volunteer standing alone at the back. No cameras, no headlines, just kindness. When she died, Moore sat in silence for a long time, thinking about all the lives she might still have touched. And Christopher Lee, perhaps the deepest friendship of all. Moore described long dinners that stretched past midnight, conversations that wandered from Shakespeare to military history, to old film stories they'd both told 100 times, but somehow never tired of. Lee was learned, endlessly curious, and completely without arrogance about any of it. The last time they met, neither of them knew it was goodbye. They simply shook hands and said, "See you soon." Moore's conclusion was simple and rather beautiful. Fame fades. Applause ends. But a kind word, a shared laugh, a hand on someone's shoulder at exactly the right moment, those things travel further than any of us will ever know. If this story moved you, leave a like and subscribe. There are more lives worth remembering.